Okay, everyone, we're going to give this a try. I think we're out on the web now. So the meeting will please come to order. Reminder to turn off your phones, and if you have any materials, give them to the Sergeant at Arms, Commissioner Curran. Having mentioned turning off your phones, I'm not turning mine off because I'm waiting on a call from a doctor's office. If that call comes in, I'll have to step out of the meeting and the vice chair will step in. With that, the invocation is being led by Commissioner Meeks, the pledge by Commissioner Hinkleman. If you wish to join us, please rise.
Dear Lord, I pray that you guide us always, satisfy the needs to be met during this meeting. It's nothing else make us tough. It's just nothing else so we make tough decisions. I pray that you be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose water never fails. I pray that we be fruitful. Father, please guide us so the meeting can be productive. Let us be effective and decisive. Amen.
Amen. Please join with me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Bell. Curran.
Here.
Freeling. Harrison.
Here.
Hinkleman.
Here.
Majerick.
Here.
Meeks.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Ballrath.
Here.
Werfel.
Here.
Yarborough.
Present.
Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. Minutes from last week need to be approved. Anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Volrath. Is there support? Supported by Meeks. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, I understand we have 4 or 5 communications.
Yes, you have a communications from Michael Fryback, Buchanan, regarding a website on foreclosing properties received on October 20th. Alger County Board of Commissioners, a resolution opposing Senator Shirkey's gearing towards integration proposal and supporting Pathways Community Mental Health Services. Another resolution from Alger County supporting the amendments to the Open Meetings Act received on October 22nd. Misaki County Board of Commissioners, a resolution supporting vaccine awareness and medical. Dickinson County Board, a resolution supporting American Rescue Plan and state match programs received on October 26th. Branch County Board of Commissioners, a resolution to support amendments to the Open Meetings Act received on October 27th. That's all.
Thank you. And those will be maintained in your office?
Yes.
Thank you. Public comments about resolutions, anything on the agenda? There are no added resolutions. Does anyone in the public have any comments about agenda resolutions? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Moved by Scott. Support?
Support.
Supported by Harrison. Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Curran.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
Hinkleman.
Yes.
Majerick.
Yes.
Meeks.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Ballrath.
Affirmative.
Werfel.
Yes.
Yarborough.
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas.
Thank you. We have some appointments coming through the Finance Committee. Madam Chair, did you want me to summarize those and then the Finance Committee will tell us what your position is?
Yes.
All right. According to the list, not according to my memory, but this would be a reappointment to the Brownfield Authority for Lee Van Ginhoven for a 3-year term expiring 5/25 of 24. Reappointments of David Chandler and Lois Foster to the Land Preservation Board, terms expiring 6/30 of '24. Those are also 3 years. The reappointments of Catherine Waycamp and Dale Kreitner, 4-year terms expiring 5/22/25 to the Land Bank Authority. And the Trust Investment Advisory Committee, a reappointment of Joe Wasserman to a 3-year term, which expires 6/7 of '24. And that's everything on the list. And as far as I know, those are all the appointments which Finance has on the table.
Thank you. And what we have learned, we have others, but we're waiting for Annette Christie for them to get back to her. So these that are presented now, we would like to reappoint.
So what was just read is all for today.
Yes,
Is there a motion to move those appointments?
I make a motion that we move the appointments.
Moved by Yarborough. Is there support?
I'll second that motion.
Seconded by Majerick. Any discussion? Ma'am.
I'm just gonna, I guess, express my opposition to 2 of the 4 appointments that have been on the boards for more than 10 years, and that those positions should be made available for the public to apply as well before an actual reappointment is made. That's my comment.
Okay, very good. Any other comments? All right. Having been moved and supported, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The appointments are approved, 9 yeas, 1 nay.
Thank you.
May I see, okay, committee reports. Personnel is first on the list.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met this morning, reviewed a number of items. First was that we approved advanced step hire requests from the drain office and the health department. We considered those, reviewed the information from the departments and approved them. We also looked at a resolution that will come to you at our next meeting. This is a shared position between information technology and friend of the court. And so we supported that resolution also. Heard a presentation from Laura Freeling, our Register of Deeds. It was very informative. She talked about the origin of the department and the various activities that they complete on behalf of the citizens of the county. We did talk about board appointments. We are the parent committee for parks, and we'll have a couple appointments coming to you at your next meeting. And also one's in the pipeline regarding the Workforce Development Board, as well as the Regional Planning Commission. We also talked about a resolution that will, I believe, come to you next week. This is a contract with the Berry and Risa regarding rapid antigen testing and support for school districts with COVID management. And so that would, we also approved our minutes. So that would conclude our report.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for PHS? Hearing none, we'll go to admin. Jim?
Thank you, Mac. First off, we had Paul Jenkins Jr. from the Public Defender's Office, and Commissioner Werfel would like to report out on that.
Yes, thank you. The first thing he reported out to us was about his year-end financials, which he was very, very pleased with. They did have an overage. They expected that overage to be a lot higher because of all the court delays and jury trials and all of those things. The overage ended up only being $23,000 and will be completely paid back from grant funds. So nothing will be coming out of the general fund for that. So that was really great news from Paul. His hiring, he has hired the social worker, the 3 positions that he had open, and the 2 attorney positions he's expected to fill within the next few weeks. He did tell us he poached the social worker from friend of the court, so net we still have an opening within the county, as I'm sure Brian's really excited about. They have gone through or they are having trouble with a legal assistant position, filling that, so that's still open. He went through the quarterly data. They have completed so many trials in the last quarter, that's July through September, larger than the entire last year, each quarter. The thing he was also, again, most proud about on that was they did 70 referrals, the social workers did. That was connecting people to support services that are already available within the county, like housing, counseling, and other services that they were able to connect those people with. Public Defender's Office is doing well. That's my report.
Thank you, Julie. Then we had Annette Christie come in and talk to us about board appointments, filling positions, expiration dates. She wants to align some of that, and then she will bring us back people for those positions that we'll bring to the full board. We also had Greg Trail, our road department superintendent, come in along with Brian Dissett. There is roughly 50 acres down in Niles Township. It's at M51 and Pucker Street. It's where the city of Niles used to have a hydroelectric dam. And over the years, they've been removing that dam and making that area usable for a park or what have you. Well, there's enough acreage down there for us to put a road department garage. The city of Niles is worked out an agreement with the DNR where the DNR will maintain that whole area down there for recreation, boating, taking care of the road, everything that goes along with that. And then there's plenty of acreage for a road garage. So what we asked of Brian and Greg, we're well aware that Brian has a facilities study going on right now to figure out what facilities we have, what those needs are. So we asked that this be put into that bigger picture. Okay, if you're going to build a garage in Niles, which garage are you doing away with? Then how are the assignments, the areas that go with those garages? So between now and whenever he comes back to us, they will have, and Greg did a pretty good job of explaining it to us in our committee, but I said, I like to see things in writing, and see the map so I know, okay, you put Niles here, you take away Claire, now you got Bakertown, okay, he wants to move Bakertown over to Three Oaks. And he's got a regular plan in place. And so all I asked for was the whole plan. Let's see the whole thing. So when we get that, we'll evaluate it and then we will bring it to the whole board along with Brian. And if I missed anything, please. Okay. We have a resolution for you at our next meeting. It's A2111351. The sheriff's department gets secondary road patrol money, and they are getting an addition to their allotment. The resolution is to accept the additional allocation. It's $82,170. So that's a total for the secondary road patrol of $181,770. So the resolution is to accept the additional funding. I didn't think anyone would object to that. So we're moving that one forward. And we approved our minutes, and that is our report.
Any questions for admin?
Thank you.
Was there a question or
No, I just turned the mic on for maybe.
finance, ma'am?
Thank you. Commissioner Scott, would you want to tell us something about Annette? I think I already.
Yeah, Annette was in and discussed recommendations for board appointments to the different committees and the openings that we had. We just went through and approved a bunch of them, but there are a couple more. We're waiting on Public Works and on Planning Commission. We're waiting on applicants. The people who are already on those specific boards are always given the opportunity, if to fill out the application to be reappointed. And there's a few of them that we haven't gotten back in yet. So that's my report on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And then our clerk, Sharon Tyler, an assistant clerk or deputy clerk, came in to talk to us. There are two positions. There is an election, now a temporary position that Clerk Tyler needs to and wants to make a permanent person. And then a request for change of job description, title, and grade for another position. The clerk's department has 23 employees set, but she's 8 short right now. And she's not had an interview with anyone that has applied in 2 years. And what happens is because somehow this department, those ranking numbers, 1, 2, 3, how determines your pay is very low. And some of the people in those positions work with Clerk Tyler, and then they move into the courts or wherever, or they're enticed, or they go and find other jobs. So she needs this to happen. There will be resolutions coming to move a number from a 3 to a 4. And it just needs work. She says she feels like she's a training ground because after they've been with her for a while, then they are doing well and they move on. So that was brought to us, and we agreed to bring this resolution to you all next week. There are not a lot of elections this year, but there will be many next year. And need people that are trained and ready, and that department really needs to be looked at for pay and all that. We're doing it with everything, and so our administrator's nodding yes, that we need to work on this, please. The next thing we did was we had a number of waivers, and Lee Law, our director of Veterans Affairs, came in to talk to us. They want to put a new door right at the entrance here and some security as you go in. And just for the preliminary drawings, he would like for it to go to Avonmarsh because they've done other entrances and things. And so we'd like to waive getting a bid and let that happen. And I believe it was $3,900, and that somehow comes to my mind. Then we had Kevin Stack from the road department come and talk to us. And there are 2 roads that are being worked on. One is Berrien Road and the other one is Sawyer. And we had bids. And what he would like to do is split the bid up between Whiteman and between Avonmarsh because of their experience and what these roads need. They each have better experience and so he wants to split it up into 2 different jobs. And one will be $23,000 for the Berrien Road, and the budget for that was $35,000, so it's under that. And then for Sawyer Road, $53,000, and the budget for that was $70,000. So we agreed to go with that. It was not necessarily the low bid, but it's how they believe it will work well. Then we had a number of waiver requests. Let me see if I can come across it. I don't know if I don't see it. Do you have that? The waiver request, let me see what. One is for a boiler. Yeah. Is it there? Yes. For Motorola. Our 911 administrator was in this morning talking to us about it, and Motorola is the sole source for what we need. And so we want to put a waiver through on that. Everything that we're doing, you all know, needs to have been on order yesterday because so many things take a good while to come, and there aren't bits and pieces and things that we need. And so we want to bring this to you next week for the full commission approval to be able to get these 800 megahertz radios and project going, tower and all those things. We have 2 boilers. A waiver was requested. We have 2 boilers, and the Berrien County Jail, and one of them has gone out. And we need to have the other one on order. And just from preliminary bids, what we're going to go with is the lowest bid. But the reason we're going with them is because they say in 1 week, they can have a boiler here. Because if the other one goes out, then we will have no hot water to the jail or the jail administration or any part of that. Can you think of other waivers that we had? Any others?
One additional thing, on the position with the clerk, the election, one thing I will say about it is that the alternative to that is to bring in state people on a temporary basis to fill that need. It's very expensive. Okay, I'm very sorry. So the alternative to that is to have some people come in temporarily from the state to fill that position, or to fill that need, and it's very expensive. So this position makes sense.
Yeah.
From a great standpoint.
Yeah, we have so many things going on, and then if I think of another waiver, I'll let you know. But then we accepted our minutes, and we had road payables, and we had weekly bills, and so those all were done. I believe that's it.
Any questions for finance? Jim?
Mamie, if I heard you correctly, you're going to ask us to approve next week the proposal from Motorola for the tower simulcast, everything?
Radios, everything. This, what is it, $7 million job?
Will your resolution also commit the funding to cover that $2.8 million gap? That'll be in the resolution, so we are committed, because I think that's the right thing to do. We've got to cover that 2.8 million. So
Yes,
if you make it part of the
say it.
resolution, then we know it's a good deal.
The answer is yes.
Okay.
The authorizing resolution will have the project fully funded with an acknowledgement that we do have offsetting revenue coming from the state of Michigan. This will be our first drawdown of ARPA funds. We have freed up 4 million plus in ARPA funds via the lost revenue calculation. We'll use that. And then I'll work with the finance team to identify the remaining funding sources. But the project will be fully funded.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other questions for finance? Regarding that compensation change for deputy county clerks, has personnel signed off on that? Does personnel need to?
Yeah, it's got to go to PHS.
Okay. All right, very good. Commissioner reports, we'll start and go clockwise. John?
No report. No report. No report. No report.
Well, I had 2 meetings. I met with the MAC Ag and Tourism Committee and the HHS Committee. 2 biggest things out of both of those committees that we got from the legislative update was MAC and about 30 other organizations have put together a team and put together some thoughts for the governor and the legislature on the remaining use of the ARPA funds that the state has. It can be found, their results can be found on a website that you're welcome to look up. It's called myroadmap.com, myroadmap.com. They've got it categorized into 5 categories. They're great categories. All would benefit us as well. So do take a look at that. On the HHS committee, we also had their attorney in, and they talked about to the county commissioners that were on the line about the mandates, about the rules and regulations and the laws around hiring, firing, health directors, health orders, all of those things. So, and it seems like with what their attorney said to us, it's the same thing we heard from our attorneys. So there was no difference, no changes there. But the good news is that like every county in the state is facing this. So we're not alone. That's my report.
Nothing here.
No report.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, got a few things. I'll start with MAC. Michigan Association of Counties is working on the roadmap to prosperity. It's a partnership with Michigan Municipal League. We've made arrangements for representatives from Michigan Association of Counties to be at one of your upcoming meetings. So the 4th of November, 11/4 at 8:35, MAC will be on the agenda for a presentation for Committee of the Whole. I've requested a sample resolution offering support for the roadmap to prosperity. My intent is to bring that forward to the full board after that presentation, more than likely the following meeting. That's something that is being pushed by the Michigan Association of Counties. It's a team up with MML. Put simply, state of Michigan sitting on billions in fund balance, and the associations representing local units of government are trying to coordinate on offering comment on how those billions can be invested, everything from parks, infrastructure, drinking water, et cetera. That's on the 4th. Also on the 4th, we'll have Mr. Ben Feynman representing the BC BIT committee. Ben is partnering with BC BIT via contract with the Merit Network. And what Ben will be doing is providing an update on everything that BC BIT, the broadband committee, has been working on, and then talking about a request for proposal. What they're trying to do is follow the Washtenaw County model, in which the areas that are underserved for broadband service will be highlighted. Those areas will then be mapped out, and we will try to get ISP, internet service providers, to put together a proposal to build out in those areas. Once you have that proposal, you have a better understanding of what the true costs will be. That allows us then the flexibility to work with the local units to see if there's a desire to take a sliver of the ARPA funds and incentivize construction of broadband. So as we have farmers talking about not being able to get service, this is the long-term solution to that issue. And then the last thing just to keep on your radar is November 18th at 8:35. The Committee of the Whole will receive a presentation from Jim Hettinger. Jim has been working on your strategic plan. We are really at the end of that process. The narrative is largely done. At this point, he's just inserting the graphics, the charts, and other items into the document. I've met with him this week. He's at a point where he's ready to make his presentations. He's aware of our facility study. He's aware of our work on revenue loss calculations. We've got a few more things to tweak, but that Committee of the Whole presentation will occur on the 18th. And the intent there is to allow you all to get real comfortable with the plan. And my hope is that sometime before the end of the calendar year, there'll be a resolution adopting that plan. So those are things to keep on your radar for the month of November. That's it, sir.
Thank you. Did that stimulate any questions or comments? If not, we'll go to general public comments. Anything under the sun in 2 minutes or less. If you want to make a comment, just come up and say your name and what political subdivision you live in. City, village, township. Yes, sir.
Good morning, good afternoon. Michael Hoy, 292 Bellevue in the city of Benton Harbor. I have put in for a position with the Berrien County Historical Association for the assistant manager for the position down in Berrien Springs. They started out with 36 candidates and they went down to 20. Now they went down to 18. Now they're down to 4. And my interview is today at 2 o'clock. I think because of my love for Berrien County and my love for history, seeing that I'm the founding president of the Benton Harbor Historical Preservation Society, and my time with the Heritage over in St. Joe and things of that nature, working with the Morton House and things of that nature, that I may be a great candidate for this. Want to let you know this is not a position that is a Berrien County employee, so there's nothing there. Just want to let you know that I'm up for the position, and I hopefully will be able to support and promote Berrien County the way I love Berrien County. So that's me. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Robin Graffinius again, and I'm here to say, once again, we need to unmask our kids. If you didn't see it,
Pardon me, your city, village, township?
I'm sorry, I'm Lincoln Township.
Thank you.
And in case you didn't read the article yesterday in the paper, all the things that we said that were going to come to fruition are coming to fruition. The masks are bad for our children. They are causing them to have other issues, not just our children, but all people that are wearing masks are having other issues due to the fact that they're not getting inoculated from basic germs. And our children are really suffering. And I know that you don't have direct authority to do anything about this, and I'm not exactly sure how this is working, but somehow the school boards are and the superintendents are under the impression that they need to mask our kids in order to quarantine less of them and none of them in certain circumstances. And I just can't understand how or why this is connected and why we are masking them when it's obviously a detriment to their health. Then the second thing I wanted to bring up was something that I hadn't intended to speak about today, and that is that I'm shocked with the number of appointments that you all just appointed. People just continued the same appointments without opening things up for other people. That's very political, and it really makes me shake my head that our small community would not be opening these positions up for more people. And when Commissioner Warfel spoke, you all just moved on and okay, she objected, but don't you all feel like at some point you should open some of these things up for other people? The other thing that I would bring up is that during your financial discussion, not once was there the word, we took the lowest bid, or the words, we took the lowest bids. What's going on with that? Why are we taking the good old boys of Avon March and Whiteman, which I happen to like those guys too, but I don't understand why we're not sometimes taking this lowest bid. We're continuing to work with the same people all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Amy Foster from Lincoln Township. I wanted to bring a couple things to your attention. This week, the state of Ohio updated its quarantine guidance so that masking is not required in school unless you are a school contact. And then you wear a mask and get tested between day 5 and 7 while remaining at school. Kids are not having to miss school unnecessarily. For athletes, you're tested right away, and you only wear a mask. I mean, in Michigan, we wore it running around, which is idiocy, but you don't do that in Ohio. But you do get tested the first day, and then after day 5 to 7, you get tested as well, and you don't miss out on sports. In Edwardsburg, a neighboring county, very close by, they're not quarantining school contacts at all. They're contact tracing and have contacts parents monitor for symptoms. They're not quarantining unless they get symptoms. If you look at their dashboard, it shows that there's never been a huge outbreak because of these sensible measures. So actually, I saw that Branch County and some of the other people were emailing you and they were passing resolutions, whether they're binding or not. You can take a stand, and it's necessary. So I'm asking you to go on record as supporting parental choice for masking in school and vaccines, because they're already approving it for 5-year-olds, which is very scary. So vaccines and for reasonable quarantine measures. I expect you and beg you to go on record. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Aaron Tippin. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I'm Victory Woodall, and again, I live in Covert, not in Van Buren, but I have interest in this county. My kids go to school in St. Joe. I own property in city of Benton Harbor, Benton Township. I'm here again, same as Robin, same as Amy, to call for mask freedom, for vaccine freedom for our kids, and the mandates. To that point, with the hiring of the new public health officer, we're very interested in who you choose for that position. We understand you have 2 candidates that you may be putting offers out to. Is that correct? Maybe? Well, you can't answer right now. You can answer later. But anyway, we're requesting that maybe there be some sort of public forum where we could ask that candidate some questions maybe about their ideas on how they should be the local health, public health officer. We're really interested in that position because it's been abused, and we don't want to see that happen again. We want the choice to rely on the parents. So just keep that in mind if you would. We're humbly asking for your help to end the tyranny. I'm happy to see the current person leave because she didn't really represent our interests. And I appreciate your help in getting a good person in that position. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Jennifer Mayo Fujawa from Lincoln Township. I'm just going to kind of reiterate what the previous ladies have said. I've probably shared at some other meetings, but not necessarily this one before, that my son passed out twice last year wearing masks. And again, I know that this board is not directly responsible for the decisions being made at the school, but your voices are heard by the school administrators. And certainly with regards to what's coming up with hiring a new health officer for the Berrien County Health Department, I have a lot of very sincere concerns about the political nature of things that are happening there that are void of science, are void of the voices of the people in the community. And there are plenty of other communities in the area. I believe Edwardsburg in particular has not been doing the masking and quarantining the way that we have. I think it's time to start looking at other areas that are doing things differently, and have our selected health officer be representative of the people of the community, not from large government institutions that are bought and paid for by pharmaceutical companies. And I think that we've all come to appreciate how important our local government is, much more so really than the federal puppets that we're dealing with. So I would ask that you really start to think about our children and what this community wants, and just being open to really finding the right person for this position who isn't just going to be a talking figurehead like the last one we had. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Melissa Clapper, St. Joseph Charter Township. So I'm going to read, it is the mission of the Berrien County to provide leadership, cooperation with all units of government, sound fiscal management and planning, thereby promoting public safety, health, well-being, and prosperity in order to improve the quality of life for the present and future generations. The Michigan Public Health charges local public health departments and officials with certain duties, including prevention and control of infectious and communicable diseases. And I think that our health department in the last 18 months, this is all, by the way, this is part of the resolution that you all signed back in August, and then immediately tried to rescind the following week because you didn't like what happened. But I think that if you were here a couple of weeks ago, you heard our health department give an overview of all the things that this health department offers to the citizens of Berrien County. And it was immense. And a decision was made because that funding was jeopardized. At least that was the belief, and that was what our council here at the county advised the health department to make that decision. It was amazing. I mean, we don't know all the things that happen. We just don't know because we take it all for granted. So I hope in your hiring and looking at someone, you hire someone that believes in science, that believes in taking care of all of our residents, and that those decisions that are made have to be made with the support of the people that just hired them. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Would anyone else wish to be heard?
Darren here, Pipestone Township. It's been an interesting last 18 months, to say the least. But it's just not your kids. It's also my grandkids. It's also all these people, kids that are involved in this scenario. We should be doing what's best for them, all the kids, not just a group of kids. And I think that's where we're kind of missing the boat here. We're all in this pea-picking boat. I don't care what you say. And it should be for the benefit of all of them. And it takes the health department. I'm sorry to see that people left because they were basic leaders for the community. I hate to see people not responding, teachers leaving, nurses quitting. But this whole thing should be for the interest of everybody. And that's kind of your responsibility, is to take care of all the kids and even the adults. And I hate to see it get in such a political scenario that's gone by the wayside. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to be heard? All right, we'll close general public comment and we will move to other business. Does anybody have any?
Can you give us an update on where we're at with the health officer?
Absolutely. So our acting health officer's final day is Wednesday of next week, at which time we will be without a health officer. We are required by Michigan Department of Health and Human Services regulations to have a health officer in place. For the past several weeks, this has been a top priority, trying to find eligible candidates, people willing to step into that role. We have had limited interest in taking on this role. It is quite a bit of work, and it's under a high degree of public scrutiny. So I've reached out to former health officers, to former members of that department. I've reached out to Lakeland. I've reached out to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, surrounding counties. It's been a fairly exhaustive process. We've lined up, I believe, 3 viable options. We have a former health officer who has retired out of a neighboring county that may have some interest on a contract basis. We have a neighboring county that may be willing to contract with us to assign their staff on a part-time basis to take on the acting health role. And then just in the last couple of days, we've had an internal staff put in an application and expressed a willingness to step up and take on that role on an interim basis. So I've been working with leadership from the Board of Health as well as individual members of the Board of Commissioners, just trying to put together our options. My hope is that hopefully in the next day, I'll be able to say that we have 1, 2, or 3 that are willing to take on the role. At that point, I've got to get consent from the Board of Health that they agree that that makes sense. I will then come to PHS, is the parent committee that oversees the health department. I will ask them for their input and then move it forward to this board for consideration. Once this board is in agreement and consents that our candidate is viable, we then have to get Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to also sign off on that candidate as having the minimum qualifications to be appointed into the acting health role. State of Michigan has said very clearly they will expedite their review. They will do everything possible to minimize the gap that we will have. And we will have a gap as far as an acting health officer. What I'm trying to do is minimize the amount of time that we have that gap in place. I guess the last step on that is for the full-time health officer, we will have to make a decision on whether or not we want to engage some outside resources to try and drum up candidates. I'm pushing that off a little bit further as we attempt to fill the acting role. I think that covers all of the highlights. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. One thing though, in the past, this board has always interviewed the candidate, and even if this candidate is to come in as a temp.
Yep.
Will that interview still take place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's an internal or if it's contracting with an external, either way, I'll have that person come in and present to this board, talk about their background, talk about their vision, and then bring forward a resolution to authorize the appointment. Mac, Bob, did I miss anything?
Nope. Any other questions or other business, I should say? All right, hearing none, we will go to announcements and reminders. This has already been touched on as to Veterans Day, the 11th. That's a holiday. We will not be meeting. Thanksgiving, 2 weeks after, is also a holiday, so we won't be meeting then. As it stands right now, we therefore have 2 meetings next month, the 4th and the 18th. If something comes up and we need to add one, we always can. But right now, what's slated is the 4th and the 18th, and keep you posted on that. If there's nothing else, we stand adjourned to the 4th.